The movie begins in what appears to be the latter part of World War II, with a younger Indy being captured by Nazis in his pursuit of the Lance of Longinus, a spear that was alleged to have pierced Christ during his execution. Speaking of execution, Indy won't play ball and tell the Nazis why he's after the spear or who he's working for, and thus is put out for hanging. Fortunately, an ex machina bomb of some sort crashes through the roof, saving Indy and allowing him to escape. After a pretty average car and motorcycle chase and action sequence where I mostly couldn't tell what was going on, Indy boards a Nazi train full of antiquities, the spear being among them. Also on the train is Indy's captive friend called Basil. Funnily enough, Basil was also a professor and archaeologist. Now I get that he teaches at Oxford, but I still find it baffling that Indy would never have so much as mentioned his name previously, especially seeing they seem to be very close. Anyway, Indy finds the spear and discovers that it's a fake. Something Voller, one of the Nazis, already seems to know when he reports it to his higher-ups, but convinces them that a far more valuable and powerful artifact exists. The Dial of Destiny. Roll credits. Invented by the great mathematician Archimedes, the dial apparently has the ability to, quote-unquote, locate fishes in time. Needless to say, Indy acquires the dial, or at least part of it, when he finds it on the train, scuffles with a few more Nazis, then, along with Basil, jumps 100 feet down into a lake before the train is destroyed by Allied bombers. Fast forward and we're taken to 1969, with an elder Indy in his apartment being rudely awoken by his hippie neighbour's loud music in celebration of the Apollo 11 moon landing. Indy receives a letter informing him of his son's passing in Vietnam, and when he covers up a fridge photo of Marion, it's quite clear the two are divorced. What's also clear is that it's Dr. Jones's last day of teaching at the university, when he's treated to a surprise retirement party, something he doesn't seem all too pleased to be doing when he heads to a bar for a pity drink afterwards. Which is when we're introduced to his soon-to-be replacement, sidekick. This is Helena. Resourceful, beautiful, daring, and self-sufficient. And those aren't my words, they're literally hers. Helena is actually the daughter of Indy's friend Basil from earlier, and apparently Indy's goddaughter, and is in pursuit of the aforementioned dial, which apparently drove her now deceased father to insanity while he tried to unlock its power. After tricking Indy into showing her 1/3 of the dial that he'd kept at the university, the two are ambushed by the familiar Nazi Voller from the flashback. Aided by his goons and the CIA, they've been keeping tabs on Helena. Grabbing the dial piece and leaving Indy to be captured or killed or whatever, Helena's Spider-Man jumps a few rooftops and gets the hell out of there. Indy does the same but escapes on horseback for some reason, cutting through a Vietnam protest parade and narrowly escaping the pursuing agents on the subway. Problem is, he's now wanted for the murder of some university staff that were killed by the CIA earlier. Reuniting with his old friend Sulla, the now fugitive Indy learns that Helena has quite the record, having been caught for auctioning contraband items in the past, and somehow tracks her to a bar in Tangier, where she's attempting to auction off the piece of the dial to the highest bidder. This comes to a sudden halt when Indy intervenes, but not long before Voller / his alias, Dr. Schmidt of NASA, and his goons show up. A fight and subsequent vehicle chase ensue, and for some reason some crazy ex-love affair of Helena's showing up trying to kill her for doing him over. Anyway, after shaking all the pursuers off as well as another futile attempt to ditch Jones, Helena and her discount sidekick Teddy realise they need Indy and head to Greece to meet with another of Indy's old friends called Ronaldo, an expert diver who, with his boat, takes them to retrieve the second third of the dial from the bottom of the Aegean Sea. Once they've obtained it and surface back up, they find the boat has been taken captive by Schmidt and his goons. Ronaldo is executed, but the three manage to escape and are then headed to Sicily, having worked out that the final piece of the dial was buried with Archimedes himself. Ambushing them once again, Schmidt obtains all three pieces of the dial from them and reassembles it. See, his motive has been that he wants to harness the dial's power and travel back to 1939, kill Hitler, and undo all of his mistakes during World War II because he thinks he could have done it better and won the war? Anyway, Jones ends up being shot and taken captive by Schmidt and his men. Soon accompanied by fled Nazis, Schmidt boards his plane with the aim of coordinating the dial with the plane flying through a rift in space-time, resulting in them coming out in 1939 somehow. Helena pursues the plane on a motorcycle and superwomans herself up the wheel shafts and inside, with discount Teddy commandeering a prop plane, despite being like 10 and admitting he'd never flown before. Apparently Schmidt made a mistake, and they end up in 212 BC during the siege of Syracuse. With their plane being attacked by the Romans, Indy and Helena manage to parachute out before the plane crashes, killing the bad guys. Oh no, actually it wasn't a mistake of Schmidt's, as they happen to stumble upon Archimedes himself and learn that the whole reason he designed the dial was to have someone in the future come back and change the events of the battle? I think? Anyway, infatuated with the sight, Indy just wants to remain and die in this time period, and protests to Helena who wants to go back to real time. This is put to an end when she reminds him that his medicine in present time awaits, and knocks him out cold in one hit. I'm not exaggerating. We next see them back in 1969. How did they get back seeing the plane had crashed? No idea. Anyway, Indy awakens to Helena in his apartment, with them soon being joined by Sulla, his grandchildren, Discount Short Round, Teddy, and Marion. Indy and Marion are left alone together, while the rest head off for ice cream. We're then treated to a callback of the whole, well god damn it, where doesn't it hurt scene from Raiders, with the two sharing a kiss. Then a quick shot of Helena and Co out on the street, then back up to Indy's hat, and then bam, the end.